Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban Rifleman. As most of you will have already figured out, I am back in the United States. The trip to South Africa was fantastic. There's going to be a lot more content coming up from that trip. I've barely scratched the surface of the footage that I have to edit. It's going to take me a while to do all of that. But now that I'm back in the United States, there are a couple of topics that I have been ignoring. I owe some videos to a couple of people. I think I may have mentioned I'm now a brand ambassador for Discovery Optics, and I did a quick sort of unboxing look at this scope a few weeks ago, or maybe even a little bit more than a month ago, and I will certainly put an end card in this video that'll link to that video, because I talk about the scope in a bit more detail. I have the TriggerCam out here once again, and I'm still kind of playing around with it, but it's interesting in that it allows you to see what I'm seeing as I'm shooting through the scope. So I've attached it to this Discovery Optics scope. Also, I'm using Discovery Optics lightweight cantilever mount. I will put a link in the description text down below, both to the where you can buy the scope, where you can buy this mount. I talked about both of them at great length. I'm not going to go into that again. The name of the scope, unfortunately, is covered up by the TriggerCam being clamped onto the ocular bell. So I will put the name of the scope. It is an endless run-on sentence of abbreviations. Long story short, this is a 3-15 by 50, I believe. Yes, it's a 50 millimeter objective. We've got a 30 millimeter tube. We've got the standard Christmas tree type range-finding reticle in here. And I have not had a chance to shoot this scope yet. I also haven't had a chance to shoot this rifle yet, and I'll talk about this at some length in an upcoming video if any of you are interested. This is the rifle I was having so much trouble with about a year ago. I had a Delton mid-length gas system heavy barrel mounted into this rifle, and I have since replaced the barrel with a Ballistic Advantage 18-inch SFIR barrel. I put a very basic, old-fashioned free float tube on it. This one has a 1-in-7 twist. That old Delton barrel had a 1-in-9 twist. And I have a Strike Industries Warhog comp on the front. I know a lot of people talk trash about Strike Industries because their stuff is relatively inexpensive, but I have bought a bunch of their products now. I have enhanced takedown pins in this rifle that are from Strike Industries. The Warhog comp, I've had absolutely zero problems. Beautiful machining and very reasonable prices. And I wanted a full-blown comp, but one that was quite small because I've already got an 18-inch barrel on here. This is actually shorter than an A2 flash hider. So we'll see how it works. So again, we've already taken an in-depth look at this scope. We've taken an in-depth look at this cantilevered mount, and I think it's now time to see how it works. And I am still kind of getting back into the swing of things after coming back from South Africa. And I'm kind of kludged together here. I forgot to bring my range bag out here. I don't have my regular squeeze bags, but I think I have a squeezy enough sandbag here that I can make this work. So I'm going to take a couple of shots at 50 yards just to see if I can get this thing zeroed. I have some of this stuff. It's 60 grain ballistic tip bullets. I think this is like ammo, brand ammo or something like that. It's shot very reliably for me and accurately out of my Howa. So we'll take 3 shots at 50 yards and see if I'm at least on paper. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the scope cam so you can see what I'm saying. So here we go. A couple shots at 50 yards. Which one of these was the squeezy sandbag? Here we go. Set my parallax for 50. There we go. My dot fell off, as you can see, but okay. Well, that is not a bad little group, but it's not where I was aiming. So let's make some rough adjustment here. There we go. Left. There we go. We'll load 3 more and see how it does now. I know this is really quick and dirty, but I don't want to run out of light. Nice little group though, at 50 yards so far. Here we go, let's try a second group. Well, that is not too shabby. So I know this doesn't tell you a whole lot at 50 yards, but there's group number 1. There's group number 2, each 3-shot groups. I would say that's not bad for the very first shots out of a barrel, especially in an AR-15. I mean, there are precision AR-15s and there are budget precision AR-15s like mine, but to describe any AR-15 as really precision, it's not in my book, but that's shooting just fine. And if we're on at 50, we should be pretty much on at 200. So I've got my 8-inch steel plate out there. I am switching ammo. We'll see how that goes. I'm going over to Sierra Match King. These are 69 grain hollow point boat tail match bullets. We'll put 5 in, and we'll see if we can ring that 8-inch gong at 200 yards. So far, I mean, the scope seems to be holding 0, at least initially. If anyone's looking for more exhaustive testing, they want to see me do a tracking test or something on this, I will be more than happy to do so. The scope does say that the tracking is guaranteed. But let's see if I can get some sort of a sight picture here at 200 yards. We're going to have to adjust the parallax. That ought to do it. Yeah, and the parallax certainly seems to be spot on with this scope. So let's see if we can hit that gong. Probably help if I chamber it around first. Here we go. A little bit low, but more or less dead center. Let's see if we can reproduce that. Wow, this rear bag is really squirrely. Okay, let's try this again. That was a little further left, but still okay. Okay, not bad. Now it's just occurring to me, I didn't really torque these screws down properly. I forgot to do that. One thing I like about these Discovery mounts is they give you the torque values right on here. And I did make these finger tight, but I didn't torque them down, so. But I'm not noticing any wobble here. That should be 4 and 5. That looks like not a bad little group on that 8-inch steel plate at 200 yards. Yeah, let's shoot another 5. I don't want to make this super long, but let's see if we can ring that steel a couple more times. Actually, this rear bag's not too bad. I'm interested to see what kind of muzzle flash this Warhog muzzle brake is putting off. Is there anything smaller out there? Let's try that crappy little plate there. It's got a bunch of holes in it, but maybe I can hit it. Oh yeah. What about that plate that's just above and to the right of my plate? Yeah, I think I'm liking this rifle. This new Ballistic Advantage barrel seems to be right on the money. Oh, hell. Okay, so here's something weird. I don't want to shoot all these up because I want to get a little bit of video footage of one of them. So what do we have here? We've got 7. I'm going to save one because I want to take some video of it. As some of you already know, I was in South Africa last week, or the last couple weeks on vacation. And this is interesting. This is South African surplus 5.56 that I bought, 55 grain, full metal jacket. Sure, it was made by Pretoria Metal Pressings in Pretoria, South Africa. Certainly pre-94. Yeah, it's got an 87 head stamp on it. I'm pretty sure this is that South African stuff. And it was really, really excellent ammo. Even though it's only 55 grains. And I'm down to my last round. But I'm going to fire off these 6. And we'll see if we can make that plate ring a little bit more with this old South African surplus 55 grain ammo. I think that was a little high, which stands to reason. Let me try shooting lower. There we go. Wow, for a 55 grain surplus round, that really whacks that gong. Try it again. Aiming low. This stuff smells funny. This smells. I remember the smell of this powder. This smells like the 1980s. This powder has a very distinctive aroma. Ooh, I think I missed that time. What do I have? One left? Don't miss. I did not miss. And man, I have a nice little... I'm going to have to repaint this plate. That was the last one. So I'd say we beat up the gong pretty good there. I'm guessing maybe I got to come one click right. Maybe. Or maybe I just leave it alone. That's pretty good. I did clip the edge right here. This is an 8mm, 8x57 Mauser round from my last range session. But all the rest of these on an 8-inch gong out of a brand new unproven AR-15 at 200 yards. You can see my Toyota over there. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. So, I think my barrel's pretty warm. I think for the first go-round, that was probably a pretty good test of this scope. It certainly seems to be holding zero fine. I don't have a big piece of paper to test tracking and stuff. If somebody wants that in the future, I will certainly... get that for you. Oh, let me film one other thing. Just so you can see that this is first focal plane. As I said, this rifle goes from 3 to 15. I can only dial it back to about 9 power because this quick throw lever interferes with the trigger cam, but you can see it is first focal plane. And it's a nice range-finding reticle. I like this. There's a couple of targets somebody left up there. But I'm not going to be tempted to shoot those. I think I've fired off enough rounds. Wow, even the free float tube is a little bit warm. So, anyway, I'll probably edit a bunch of this out. But I wanted to take a look at this Discoveryopt scope. So far, I'm very impressed. It's got ED glass. The optical dispersion is extremely low in this. I get very little chromatic shift out to the periphery of the range, the field of view. Maybe a little bit of a halo right up at the edge of the field of view, but overall, very, very nice. I'm not going to mess with the knobs because I have to go home and set the zero on this now that I have it zeroed at 50 yards. By the way, I do like to zero my scopes in 223 or 5.56 at 50 yards because then you're pretty much on at 200. And where I live here in southeastern Pennsylvania, 200 is as far as we're going to shoot. So I want to get on to the next project. When I post that, I hope to see each of you here then. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. I'm really trying to grow this channel, and I will see you all later. Later, guys.